Herbalife shedding value thanks to Bill Ackman. Let's talk to Reuters correspondent Ernie Scheider. It's a pyramid scheme, says Bill Ackman of Herbalife. Shares dropping 5% today, this after dropping 12% yesterday when this news came out that he was going to short sell.
Yes, yeah. He's coming out today, Ackman, saying he has a big short position in the company, doesn't think that there's long-term value there. And so there's been other interest in the company from the short in the past. Let's not forget Bill Einhorn earlier this year.
David
Einhorn just appeared on the conference call, didn't really say much of anything by way of negative, and the stock dropped there.
Right.
What's really interesting to me today is that Herbalife CEO is fighting back. We don't normally big time. We don't normally see this from a lot of companies, and short sellers go after them. But Michael Johnson is coming out and saying that the claims from Ackman are bogus and that Ackman is just doing this to benefit his business model. He wants the SEC to look into it. So we're seeing a lot of pushback from him, and I find that really interesting.
He actually said on CNBC that the U.S. would be better with Bill Ackman gone.
I mean, very, very strong, very, very loaded words right there. And, you know, I mean, this is Bill Ackman basically going at the heart and soul of his company. He is the CEO. It is his job. He is hired by the board to defend the company. So it is, some would say that's his job to do that.
Right.
The allegations of a pyramid scheme, that's something really for the shareholders to decide. Ackman is one of them now. Let's see where he takes this.
Just adding to his comments, Ackman saying that the company's grown remarkably rapidly, but there's not much substance to what's going on here. He accuses them of inflating their retail prices on their products, overstating retail sales. I mean, this is a huge, they're in 81 countries, Herbalife.
It's, they sell weight loss supplements, energy drinks, things like this, and basically the basic model is you've got one main distributor and you find two beneath you and then two beneath them, and it sort of goes on.
And so on.
And some of the distributors, the allegation is you get a discount, and so you get the discount to then sell it on, and so that's where you get part of your profit. But what some people are saying is that those distributors basically buy the bulk of their product for themselves rather than sell it down the river. So, does that mean that there's a sustainable business model or not? That's sort of one of the big question marks that Ackman and others have.
All right. Are they selling everybody down the river? That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, Ernie Scheider, thank you so much. I'm going to move now to the hot spot, and as I do, remember to check out the snaps at the bottom of the screen for more news of the day. I have two fine gentlemen joining me from Reuters here, Anthony Curry and John McCrank, and we're going to talk about the Intercontinental Exchange, easier to call it ICE, buying the New York Stock Exchange for $8.2 billion. This is a third less than the joint bid it made with NASDAQ just a year ago.
Yep.
Anthony?
I think it's a kudos to both of them, frankly. If you go back to last year, you had NASDAQ and ICE both saying, basically both mocking New York Stock Exchange, saying your leadership is terrible, your returns to shareholders are terrible, you really shouldn't be doing this, let us run it. And when you say something like that, you don't really expect the CEO of the company you've attacked, once your bid fails, to think, oh, I'll deal with this guy again. But Nieder actually is pretty, I don't know what you think, John, but I think he's been pretty practical here. The shares have gone down 30% this year. Yeah. No other major stock exchange or exchange is down as much as that. And he said on the call this morning, look, whether it's us or whether it's the environment, we're just not delivering for shareholders, so something's got to give. And they're even giving up on one of their big strategies of the past, which is the European stock exchanges they own. They may well have to sell those next year.
Take that public, that's right. All right, John, let's talk about life as if ICE wasn't enough.
Sure.
That really the jewel in the crown here?
Yeah, I mean, it's the second largest derivatives trading platform in Europe, and ICE has been looking to get into the global interest rates trading business, and Life is a great way to do that. And on the other hand, New York Stock Exchange has been looking to start a clearinghouse, or has started to invest in a clearinghouse in Europe. Okay. Now they can get onto ICE's platform, so it's win-win.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quicker, and actually to think about all the things that happen with derivatives, clearing is going to be really, really important. And if you can have a good clearinghouse, then as more derivatives go on exchanges, you're looking much prettier.
All right, so this deal, unlike the bid with NASDAQ, likely to go through because not much overlap here. Right, John?
That's right, yeah. Jeff Sprecher, the CEO of ICE, said this morning on a conference call that he and Duncan Niederauer had just finished a whirlwind tour of all the different global exchanges, or regulators, and that everyone seemed on side with it. So looks like it's going to go through.
All right, the stock exchange up 33% today. So we will watch closely this story. Thank you both so much for being here. I'm going to walk back to the Market Monitor, where I am joined by another fine gentleman, Greg Roumeliatis from Reuters. Carlyle Group, there it is up on the board. Big in China, right? You're going to fill us in here. Leading a consortium to buy China's Focus Media for about $3.7 billion.
That's right. It's the biggest private equity deal in China. It's also quite a controversial deal because the company has come under scrutiny before from short sellers, and we were talking about Herbal earlier.
Muddy Waters, not to be confused
Muddy
with the
Waters,
musician.
absolutely, yeah. So basically, shares kind of like really plunged when Muddy Waters said, oh, you know, they're accounting as something really dodgy going on here.
Yeah.
But then Carlyle stuck with the deal. They found some private equity firms in China. They teamed up with the CEO of the company, and the board yesterday said that they had agreed to a deal now, $3.7 billion, kind of like China's biggest LBO. Huge deal for Carlyle.
Okay, so we should just remind folks that Focus Media is a display ad provider.
Yeah.
So in public places like elevators and supermarkets and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. So with the, a growing, population in China, so many consumers entering the market, this, could be very, very promising, as long as you believe that, like, the accounting is right and the assets are there. And Carlyle has had issues in the past with two companies in particular, China Agritech and China Forestry Holdings. Both of them had their shares either suspended or delisted from NASDAQ altogether because of such irregularities in the past. So it's a very tricky sector sometimes, kind of like investing in Chinese companies that are, sometimes also listed here in the U.S.
All right, so to that point, though, Western banks have been skittish in getting involved in deals like this, but not so in this case, right? B of A, Citi, and Credit Suisse all on board here.
Yeah, that's right. So basically, usually they rely on Chinese bank, particularly the China's Development Bank. So that shows a vote of confidence. It's tricky financing those deals in China because you have capital controls. Sometimes you have offshore vehicles which don't have so much security for the banks.
Right.
So it is a vote of confidence if Western banks are willing kind of like to provide capital for Carlyle on this, and could open the way for other private equity deals by foreign firms.
Interesting. PE in China. All right, Greg, thank you so much. Remember, folks, follow us on Twitter at Reuters Insider, and check out our YouTube channel. That's Reuters.com/ReutersTV. I'm Lisa Bernhard. This is Reuters.